Hello, students. This is Dr.NoorNigar, and today I'm going to discuss Homeless in the Global Village by Vandana Shiva. The present essay is taken from the book Ecofeminism, which is jointly written by Maria Mais and Vandana Shiva. In this essay, she argues how developmental activities has actually uprooted the ecological and cultural bonds with nature. Now, Vandana Shiva is an Indian scholar, environmental activist, ecofeminist, and anti-globalization author. She is based in Delhi and she has written more than 20 books. She is often referred to as Gandhi of Grain for her activism associated with the anti-GMO movement. Now, in this lesson, she talks about two types of homelessness. One is imaginary homelessness, and the other is the real homelessness. Now, this imaginary homelessness is the result of globalization. Even the real homelessness is also the result of development. Now, how? Because of globalization, now people can go and set up their businesses in different parts of the world. So you can say multinational companies in different nations. And the people who work in these companies are called transnational corporation executive. In simple words, they can also be addressed as MNC workers, people who work in MNCs. These people, they move around the whole world for the purpose of business. And these people, most of the time, travel to many countries and they stay in hotels, in inns. And because they keep traveling to different parts of the world, different countries, and mostly staying in hotels, they are not very culturally rooted. Whereas, due to development activities, the tribal people who are very culturally rooted and very connected to their soil, these people are forced to leave their soil, their land, the soil of their ancestor, the soil of their birth. It's all because of development. Now, these imaginary homeless, that is the transnational corporation executive, these people can move to any part of the world. So they are mobile on a world scale. And they have no particular country as their home, but the whole world as their property. The whole world is their property, and they don't have a specific home. But these tribal people, they have lost the mobility within rootedness, means they are forced to leave their land, and hence they're not allowed to go back to their own land. So they have lost the mobility, the movement to go back to their own land. And these people, that is the real homeless people, are forced to live in refugee camps, resettlement colonies, and reserves. So imaginary homelessness is created by globalization. Real homelessness is the result of development. Here, people can move throughout the world. Here, people are not allowed to go back to their own land. Imaginary homeless person is not culturally rooted, but a real homeless person is deeply rooted. Now, this development is a new religion in this global world. Now, just like any religion has temple. So what are the temples of this new religion called development? Dams, mines, energy plants, military bases. Now, each religion demands sacrifice. So what sacrifice is this new religion development demands? It demands the sacrifice of human life. It demands the sacrifice of nature. You can very well see that whenever there is any development work, be it construction of metro or something like that, trees are cut down. That is sacrificing nature. And even when there is something new industry coming up, people protest and They have been killed in this protest in police firing. So you see, the sacrifice that this new religion development demands is nature's life and people's life. Now, each religion has some sacred things, sacraments. So what are the sacraments of this new religion? It is the runes, the sacraments of this new religion, that is development, is created by the ruins and destruction of other sacred things. Now, what are the other things that is destroyed to make sacraments for this new religion? It is the sacred soil. Yes, the people who are culturally rooted, they consider soil as sacred. So what is the rationale of this new religion? This new religion provides rationale for modernizing states, its bureaucracies and technocracies. So basically, religion, the development in the global world, development is a new religion. And like each religion has, a priest. Similarly, even this new religion has high priest of development who are also known as managers of development. What development does? It dismantles, it breaks society, it breaks community. Because of development, people are forced to leave their land and go and stay in refugee camps. So it breaks society, it breaks community, it uproots people, it uproots cultures. Now, what is being said about soil in this lesson? It is believed that soil, people who are against development, these people believe that soil is the sacred mother. It is the womb of life. All life in nature is created from soil. Yes, it is true. Plant, everything comes out from soil. Even the society exists, comes out from the soil, the connection that people have with the soil. Now, its inviolability means soil should not be violated, has been the organizing principles of society. So any society, the main principle of any society, how a society is organized, is that the soil should not be violated. It should not be spoiled. It should not be fiddled with. Now, the sanctity of the soil must be sustained. Sanctity means the purity, the religiousness, of the soil must be maintained. And there should be some limit to human action. Humans cannot go on destroying soil, destroying nature. There has to be some limit put to human action. Now, I just now spoke about the managers or high priest of development. These are the people who believe that the sacred bond with the soil are actually obstacles and hindrances for development. And hence, such kind of ideas that soil is sacred and the sacred bond with soil, all these ideas should be removed, should be sacrificed. And even police force and terrorist tactics are used to uproot people. So people who believe that soil is sacred will never, ever leave their land just like that. Hence, to remove them, the state uses police force and it tries to terrorize them, create a sense of fear in them, make them afraid, so that they can leave their house and go. They can leave their land and relocate to refugee camps or places like that. Okay. Now, bullets, people are killed. Bulldozers are used. Bullets are used to scare them, to kill them, to disperse the protesters, to break the protest. And bulldozers are also used to bulldoze their homes so that they leave the place and go. And sometimes these things become necessary to execute development projects. Now, the sacrifice that the victim does is often considered both by the victims and the state or the country as a very small sacrifice one is doing for the larger interest of the nation. For example, if metro is getting constructed or a railway line, and you are asked to give your land, so you have to give because it is for the larger interest of the country. That is understood. But here, what Vandana Shiva is telling, the logic that is being given, that, the idea that is being proposed, that it is for the larger interest of the country and it is just a small sacrifice, both the points are countered by Vandana Shiva. She says, first thing, the sacrifice is not small because in the last 40 years 15 million people have been uprooted from their homeland. So it is not a small number. So as 15 million people are uprooted, it is a big number. And also, the sacrifice is not for the national interest. It is for the interest of the elite minority, the rich industrialists, the rich people who are very few in number. It is not for the entire nation. And she'll give example to show how these development project, which forces, tribal people, to local people to move out of their homeland, is actually for the interest of these rich people and not for the benefit of the nation. And also, it links with soil. The links with soil have been sacrificed to accommodate mines, dams, factories, and wildlife parks. Okay. Now, soil as sacred mother. People who believe, who are against this development, for them, soil is a sacred mother. It is not just a resource to maybe to grow crops or to construct something. For them, soil is the very essence of their being, of their existence. For them, soil is a sacred mother. And development projects tears apart the soil. It breaks the bonds between people and the soil, and hence they are against development projects. And also what development does. So development has ruptured, it has broken the ecological and cultural bond with nature and within society. So when trees are cut down and when dams are created, all these things, dams are constructed, all these things breaks the ecological balance. It breaks the cultural bonds because people are dislocated. They are forced to move from their motherland. So that cultural bonding is broken. The ecological bondage is broken. And also development it transforms the organic communities, the local communities, the native communities into uprooted and alienated individuals, because these people, the native people, they have been living in their own place for a very, very long time. And all of a sudden, if they have to go and, stay in some other place, they feel completely like strangers, like aliens, alienated, and they feel completely uprooted. So the organic communities, the local ethnic communities have been made into these alienated individuals who are searching for their identities, because their identity is associated with their community, with their soil, but now they have been forced to move away from there. So these people have lost their identities. The organic communities are being uprooted and they are changed into these alien individuals looking for their identities. And all ecological movements are not actually only ecological movements. They are movement for rootedness, like people fighting for for a forest or for preserving a forest or a river, is actually, they are not only fighting for the environment, they are fighting for themselves, their rootedness, because if some development work happens, they have to leave their culture, their society, their rootedness, and go somewhere else. And also the ethnic struggle that happens is also, it's a movement of uprooted people who are trying to get some social and cultural rootedness. And also through these struggles, people want to regain a sense of selfhood and control over their identity, over their destinies. So people struggle so that, they get their self-respect, their self-foods, their self-identity, and they can control their own future or destiny. Now, in this lesson, Vandana Shiva talks about three struggles, so three movements. First is Save Gandhamardhan movement in Orissa. Gandhamardhan is a forest in Orissa. The second is the protest against the construction of Suvarna Rekha Dam in Bihar. And the third one is the protest against the setting up of National Rocket Test Range in Balyapal in Orissa. Now, why is it important to save Gandhamardhan forest? Why did people come out to protest? Because this particular forest is a source of rich plant diversity and water resources. There are many varieties of plants found in this particular forest, and also it is a source of water resources. It feeds this Gandhamardhan forest feeds 22 perennial streams. Perennial means where the water is there throughout the year, and these 22 streams in return feed major rivers such as Mahanadi. And there's one more reason also. According to Indian mythology, this is the sacred hill where Hanuman gathered medicinal herbs, that is Sanjeevani, to save Lakshman's life. So when Lakshman's life was in danger, Hanuman got some Sanjeevani booty to heal him. And it is believed that it was this particular forest from where he got the Sanjeevani booty. Now, why is Gandhamardhan destroyed? It is destroyed by Bharat Aluminium Company, that is BALCO, for mining bauxite. Now, why this BALCO needs so much of bauxite? Because it has a aluminium plant in Korba, which is in Madhya Pradesh, and this aluminium plant has a capacity of 1 lakh ton aluminium. To meet the requirement, BALCO is now going to different places to mine bauxite, and Gandhamardhan is one such place. Before coming to Gandhamardhan, it has already destroyed one more mountain, that is Amarkantak mountain, which is a source of rivers like Narmada, Mahanadi, etc. Now, next. Now, what is this Gandhamardhan protest all about? This protest has been going on since 1985. The tribal people, they obstructed the work of BALCO. They did not want BALCO to mine bauxite there in Gandhamardhan. And these people were lured by offers of employment, which they refused. No, we don't want any jobs or anything like that. And the police force was also used, but even the police failed to stop these determined protesters. And Adivasi women, when they were dragged by the police, they said, they were telling Mati means soil, Mati Devata, Dharma Devata, the soil is our goddess, it is our religion. And there was this 70-year-old woman, Dhanmati. She says, we will sacrifice our lives, but not Gandhamardhan. We want to save this hill, which gives us all we need. Now, why the conflict and destruction? It's absolutely unnecessary. The reason being, India does not need so much of aluminium. It already has surplus of aluminium. So there is no need. Then what is the need to, mine aluminium and remove these tribal people from their homeland? The mining of bauxite is actually done to meet the demands of industrialized countries, the rich countries. These countries, they want to shut down their aluminium plants. They want to preserve their nature. They want to preserve their environment. They do not want to mine for aluminium. They don't want pollution in their country. So what these rich countries are doing, industrialized countries, they are giving the contract to countries like India, and they are importing bauxite from India. And hence, what happens, no? The Indian government wants these tribal people to leave their land so that mining could be done. And who is getting benefited out of it? It is not India, it is not Indians, it is the foreign countries who want to save their country. Now, the countries want to preserve the environment, the economics, and their luxurious lifestyle at the cost of Indian people. So there's no point forcing our own people, own tribal people to leave their land so that, we can export bauxite to aluminium to foreign countries. Now the second protest was in Chota Nagpur Plateau, and it was the homeland of tribal people in the Chota Nagpur Plateau, and their homeland were being destroyed. Why? To mine coal and iron ore. At Gandhamardhan Hills, it was bauxite, aluminium, but here it is coal and iron ore. And also, it was being destroyed by building dams on rivers. Now, which dam? It is Suvarna Rekha Dam protest or anti-Suvarna Rekha Dam movement. In this, the dam was constructed not to provide drinking water or water for irrigation. It was again provided to, constructed to provide industrial water for the expanding steel city of Jamshedpur. And because of this construction of this dam, around 80,000 tribal people would be displaced. And it was in 19, and that's the reason people, the tribal people of this particular Chota Nagpur Plateau were protesting against the construction of this dam. And there was this leader of this movement, Gangaram Kalondia. He was killed. He was shot dead by the police in 1982. Even 7 years after his death, the tribal people, they continued their protest, because they believed this will tear them away from the soil of their birth, the soil which provided them sustenance, which links them to their ancestors. All these things will go away. And that is the reason people of Chota Nagpur region in Bihar were protesting the construction of this dam. As this dam did not even benefit the farmers, or it was not for getting drinking water or anything like that, and they believed if they are uprooted, they will be moving away from the soil of their birth, from their ancestors and things like that. That's because, the tribal people over there had the graves of their ancestors near their homes, and the children played around and they felt very connected with their ancestors. And they said if they are relocated from this place, how will they relocate the ancestors? Because they are very deeply connected with their ancestors. The children play around their graves. Now, if they move away from here, if this dam is constructed, then the grave would be covered by water. It will be submerged in water, and they cannot bear that. And that is the reason they were protesting vehemently. And the third example she gives is that of the protest that happened against the setting up of the National Rocket Test Range. Now, the people of Balyapal, they were resisting the setting up of this National Rocket Test Range. Now, Balyapal is a coastal area. So near the sea, sea coast, they wanted to set up this rocket test range so that, the rocket can be tested and it can fall into the sea. It will pollute not only the land, but also the water. And the people of Balyapal were mostly farmers. And the land where they wanted to build this national park was a fertile land for these farmers. And they were not ready to give up the soil, the land. They were ready to sacrifice their lives, but they were not ready to, give up their Mother Earth. Even these people, like the other people, rejected the compensation offers. They were given compensation offers, but they refused to take it. So finally, she concludes by saying that, the soil is the condition for the regeneration of nature's life and society's life. If we want nature to regenerate and just not die and get over, we have to, think about the soil. And also, soil is the condition for society's life. And the renewal of society involves preserving soil's integrity, treating soil as sacred. Thank you.